You're listening to Becoming CEO, where we share our journeys as solo founders to becoming the CEO of seven-figure businesses.
And these are our behind-the-scenes conversations as we figure it out, and these are things that most people just aren't sharing. All right, welcome back, everybody. So, how's it going, buddy? We're going to be discussing, I think, a Twitter debate here today.
Your tweets are the spark for this show. I read your tweets and I'm like, I need to argue with him about that. We need to argue.
I feel like, for everyone listening, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I just kind of re-engaged on Twitter at Gregory J. Hickman, and Ahmed's really the only person that engages with my tweets at this moment. So
and vice versa.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I have a follower. Oh, damn it. It's not if it's not my mom, it's Ahmed. All right, so the tweet in question said, delivery should be streamlined before lead gen. You cannot increase lead generation without increasing your capacity to deliver. Most businesses struggle from capacity, then conversions. And you said, let's debate.
So have you, your kids are still young. Have you heard this podcast, Smash Boom Best?
No.
It's run by adults. I think it's meant for kids. So they'll just debate. It's a debate show, right? And so they'll debate, what's better, chocolate or pizza, right? Or most recently I heard,
pizza,
zombies versus ghosts. And so they have people, they're usually adults, debating these things, and it's a debate show, right? So they'll each take a point of view, they'll debate it, and then there's judges, and they'll decide who wins the debate at the end. So I thought let's just go ahead. Let's just do our version of that. You argue for capacity. I'll argue for lead gen. I have arguments for both, but we can.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and so I think like most social posts, you can't communicate all the nuance, and then someone's going to get angry, and
Nope. You've got to consider every angle in a tweet, Greg. Yeah. There should be no room.
How many characters? I don't even know how many characters it is this day.
Well, it's more than it used to be. So that's why they did it.
They doubled. So I wrote that from the perspective of who I was speaking to. And who I was speaking to are most service providers early days when they're trying to kind of move out of the traction phase into what, like, if I were to determine growth across traction, growth, and then scale, I see most service-based businesses, coaches, consultants, agencies, boutique, smaller size folks, where the work is primarily done for you, customized. They never actually get out of the traction phase because they keep taking on different clients. And so they never have streamlined delivery, and thus they never really have serious lead flow, because it's like spotty referrals, networking. They get a client, then the client project, they get the project, all sales and marketing stops, go into fulfillment projects ends. Oh my God, where's my next client? And like they're always just kind of like the next one. And then that next client maybe needs something different. And so they're never kind of doing that. But then even when they kind of get a little bit of traction, they're going to have, in most cases where I've seen it, is they're juggling whatever, 3, 5, maybe 10 clients that are all kind of getting something a little bit different. And the common phrase that I always used to say was that attracted a ton of people was like, if I gave you 5 new clients right now, would you or your business break? And like in droves, the answer was
I remember that
yes.
ad
before
I met you.
Yeah, it was like, yes. And it's like, okay, so you don't necessarily, like, yes, you might have a lead gen problem also, and you will have a lead gen problem because lead gen will always be a problem. But your problem right now is not more leads. It's that you can't serve people effectively. And so you can't do anything with that demand. Like if there's great, you have a pipeline of people that are probably going to go somewhere else if their pain is high enough, because you are trying to book them 3 months in advance because you have no capacity right now. So that's where it's like, I think there needs to be some ability to and confidence to take people through a delivery experience so that you can be confident and I think, wise to start increasing your lead gen. So it's not that like lead gen is never important. I think sequentially for businesses getting traction and wanting to grow, they're always like, I need leads. And it's usually the fact that they don't have leads is offer, and that the fact that they can't handle more clients right now is that their delivery sucks. And so, obviously all of these things are connected, but that's, one, because I'm attracting the people I want to attract people that have capacity issues.
You're just marketing, dude.
I'm marketing, yeah.
You're just marketing.
I mean, but of course, all of this is, but there's obviously merit to the statement.
Look, so here's my argument for the opposite.
Yeah.
And obviously we're going to land in between in the end, right? We know where this is going. And I'm marketing too, right? Like I have a point of view on this, and my point of view is directly tied to my offer, as is yours, right? And there's a lesson in that too. The clients that we work with are far more comfortable tinkering with their offer and worrying about capacity and trying to find ways to deliver in a more streamlined way and try to improve the offer than they are doing any kind of marketing or lead generation.
I agree,
because that's their game, right? Like if I'm a management consultant focused on strategic planning, I'd much rather spend my time all day, every day, thinking about strategic planning, refining the offer, finding better ways to deliver it, reading up on the trade magazines and reading the latest like peer-reviewed articles and journals. Like I'd much rather do that. That's my jam, right? Than go out and get a client, do marketing, do lead generation, create thought leadership. Like for most people, especially when they're not used to it, that's a big lift, and they're uncomfortable doing it. They're uncomfortable putting themselves out there. So they relegate themselves to their comfort zone, which is their subject matter expertise, which is tweaking the offer. And my argument here is once you're above a certain threshold of expertise, and sure, not everyone's there. Some people need to get better at doing the thing. You know what I mean? Like some people need more expertise, need more reps, need to get better at delivery. Absolutely. Once you're above a certain threshold of expertise, my argument is getting better at doing the thing is not going to grow your business. Getting better at marketing the thing is going to grow your business. And so my concern is that look, and you're speaking to this from what you see in the trenches with your clients, and I'm speaking to this from what I see in the trenches with my clients. Is they're far more content tweaking their offer than going out and doing outreach or putting up a post on LinkedIn or doing a workshop for their market.
Yes, and I 100% agree with that. I think even like when I look at our clients, they go through the offer phase, the repackaging, like the amount of overthinking that happens in that phase is just like shocking. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like this is way more than you've ever had. Go sell it now, and let's iterate and refine really quickly. I think. And this is kind of assumptive based on what I know, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. Like you're dealing with you primarily deal with consultants that for the most part sell pretty high ticket deals where they're already selling kind of more strategy. Whereas a lot of the people that come to us are selling $2,000 retainers, like as a full service done for you agency, where it's like they're doing the websites, they're doing the branding, they're writing the copy, they're creating the social media, and it's like there's just too much. Well, one, the retainer is too low for the amount of thing that they're doing, but like they do that, and then the next client needs more than that or different than that, and so they're never actually delivering the same thing. Thus, they never have anything streamlined. I think if your people probably can move through offer faster if they're already just selling consulting, like the strategic advising and things like that. But like a lot of the people that I'm talking about, like they're rolling up their sleeves and like they are hands to keyboard on the actual fulfillment. And there is capacity, there's a lot more capacity constraints that I see on that side than, I mean, obviously we help them go to consulting and kind of hybrid training and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's, again, you said at different stages, like sequentially on what you're selling also, I think plays into that.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. Here's the thing, like for me, and we teach our clients this, and this is my guiding question at every stage of the business, and it's always shifting, and that's what makes it fun and challenging, is where's the bottleneck? Right now, we just had a chat with clients about this in a mastermind call yesterday. Where is the bottleneck? And if you're early days, well, that's not true. Let me put it this way. If you can take on more clients right now without breaking the business, to your point, your bottleneck is opportunity. It's leads.
I'd agree with that.
Focus on lead generation and closing opportunity. Now, where we may disagree or where there's some nuance is at what point is capacity the actual bottleneck? So what I find with clients is even people, clients and prospects, like we talk to more people than we actually serve, right? Because they come on the book sales calls.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest objection or one of the biggest objections that we get is, well, I don't have time to take on more clients. And they're saying that because they may be full right now. They've got a full roster, like they're busy, but they have no pipeline. So right now they don't have time. However, if they lose one client, all of a sudden they have all the time in the world.
Yep.
And our message to them is, no, you don't have a capacity problem because you don't have excess demand yet. If you lose a client tomorrow and all of a sudden you don't know where to replace that client or how to replace that client, you do not have a capacity problem. You have a pipeline problem. Show me a pipeline full of people that are ready to work with you, that are ready to sign checks with your name on them, and you can't fulfill on those. Now you have a capacity problem in my mind.
That used to be my messaging. Are you turning down clients because you're not confident that you can deliver because you don't have the capacity? Like that hits on that. I would agree with that.
But again, in my experience, everyone's different, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who think they have a capacity problem, probably because of marketers like you. Kudos, right? Who really have a pipeline problem. And if they solve their pipeline problem, they would absolutely have a capacity problem, but they think they're there sooner than they are.
And because this is me marketing and being not specific enough in this tweet, like I think that most people have capacity problems inside of delivery because they don't know what they deliver. Like they're because in the beginning it's wise to say yes to everything, like because you got to get reps, you got to figure out what problems you're solving, what are you good at, what do you want to be doing. Like it makes sense to say yes to everything early on, especially when you're just getting started. But saying yes to everything at some point is the reason you can't grow. Like, and the only way to know, like, to go from saying yes to everything to saying no is to know what it is you deliver. And so, like, to me, like, and this is where it's like there's the tweet behind the tweet, or the tweet that should have been in the thread, so to speak. I don't know, I'm not what the Twitter lingo is, but like the byproduct of that tweet is the fact that they, like, you need to have something that can be streamlined, that you can then go to the market and have people come, like, to get that pipeline. Like, it's going to be difficult to have a pipeline of opportunity if you're that full service provider. Like, we do everything for everybody. Like, if you take anybody with a pulse, you probably don't have waiting list.
Yeah.
But like, just because you're stuck, but if you have a capacity problem and, to your point, there's not a deal waiting for you, is that a lead gen problem? Or is it actually, it's an offer problem first, which to me, offer is product. It's, it's delivery, it's fulfillment side that then obviously weaponizes the ability to attract people. So yeah. I think that's where I'm coming from, is like, just more often than not, like everyone's like, because we get tons of people too, like, I have a problem with leads. I was like, sweet, what do you sell? And they're like, digital marketing. I'm like, to who? And they're like, small to medium sized business. I was like, that's in the United States. I was like, that's almost every business in the United States. Like, did you know that small to medium sized business by definition goes up to like $40 million a year?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like
are you
90% of the
million?
economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like, yeah, like this is why no one's coming to you. This is why you have a lead gen problem. Yes, you do have a lead gen problem, but it stems, that's not the, like, it's like the underlying problem is this, right? And so I think when I say stuff like that, I mean, I'm ultimately, selfishly digging for the people that want to realize that they actually have an offer problem to then get to solve the lead gen problem.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's a flip side to that we see, and I agree with all of the above. is if people come to us and go, well, I have a capacity problem. I can't, I'd love to do 90-day pipeline, but I can't take on any more clients right now. I have a capacity problem. I've got to hire, I've got to do this, that, and the other. And we go, okay, well, how many clients do you have? Well, 3. Okay. And how do you work with them? Hourly. What do you charge? $70 an hour. Okay. So you get 3 jobs is what you're telling me, right? You're an employee to 3 different companies, right? So people think they have a capacity problem when the structure of their offer and the positioning of their offer, to your point, I agree, is the real fundamental issue. If we could come up with a new offer at a premium price point that didn't position you as a pair of hands employee for the client, and we sold that offer to another 5 clients, would you exit the relationships you're in right now? The answer is always yes.
100%.
Okay, so you don't have a capacity problem, you have an offer problem.
Yeah. So basically, if you're nodding your head to both of what we're saying, you have both problems, and it doesn't matter. You just got to start fixing it.
Well, and I think that's where things get really interesting, because for us, and I see this pattern in our clients too, it was a bit of a dance. Like in the beginning, I was, up until the 7-figure run rate, I had my head down focused on the lead problem, opportunity problem. I did not think about fulfillment. I was doing fulfillment.
You still do.
Oh, fulfillment?
No.
Yeah, 100%. No, but yeah. No, I have a conversion problem right now. I have a sales team conversion problem. I don't have a capacity problem.
We have the same thing. So,
but in the beginning, I didn't even think about streamlining capacity until we were at a 7-figure run rate. That doesn't mean that's not prescriptive. Like that doesn't mean that's for you, listener. That was us, right? I could fulfill at that time, and it wasn't easy, and it was a bit of a headache. But it wasn't my primary bottleneck. And then that shifted when we started selling at a higher clip. Capacity very clearly became the issue. And then we solved for that. And then once we resolved that bottleneck, opportunity conversion became the bottleneck again. And we're still there right now. And when we solve for opportunity at this level of scale, we're going to break fulfillment again, right? And so in my experience, like it just like basically once a year, at least for me, it shifts. Every year, it kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, and such is, I think that's, I have this training that we do for our clients called Flows and Bottlenecks. And it kind of says the same thing. It's just like, when you solve whatever the problem is, usually the opposite side of the spectrum is going to be the next problem, right?
Yep.
Like if you bring in a ton of new clients, fulfillment's probably going to break, and you're going to have to fix it. And then once you fix it, you're going to be able to go, oh, well, now we have more capacity because we fixed all these things. Like now we got to go get more leads than we normally were used to able to handle, because now we can handle more clients. Like, let's go do that again. And like, yeah, you're kind of jumping back and forth. I always think of it, I think you kind of alluded to this, like I just envision like a pipe, like the left is, lead gen, then lead nurture, then sales, then fulfillment, then, retention, all that stuff. And it's like, okay, well, if there's a clog in the pipe early on, like then that's obviously going to impact how many people you're talking to, how many people you can even sell, how many people you can deliver. But if that's flowing and then the bottleneck ends up being inside of fulfillment, you're turning down deals, or you're taking on clients and you're now working way too many hours, you're burnt out, clients aren't getting results. Like we have to look at some of those things, and it's like one area gets unclogged and it gets clogged downstream, and then you unclog that and like it happens again, and that's basically growth and scale.
So to recap, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about working with my company, you have a lead problem. And if you're thinking about working with Greg's company, you have a capacity problem. Okay? Just to be really clear.
Yeah, and there's so nuance in that too, but yes, sure, we'll go with that. And by the way, I think the more important call to action is go follow me on Twitter at Gregory J. Hickman. And what's yours? What's your handle?
AA Munawar, Munawar. But here's the other thing though. Like I think it's really hard to know when it's you. Right? When you're, the old expression, you can't cut your own hair, you can't read the label on the jar when you're inside the jar. It's really hard to know. So this is where, my advisory team, your team, people that actually do this for a living and talk to consultants and service providers on the daily, this is where they're really adept at being able to identify where your actual bottleneck is and ask you the tough questions to come to that realization on your own. So if you're not sure, talk to our teams, go talk to somebody else, like find somebody who's qualified to have an opinion on this, because the worst thing you can do as a business owner is not know where your true bottleneck is. And then you're literally wasting your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess we agreed in the end.
Yep. Sure.
All right. Let's disagree on the next one.
I mean, obviously type of business, timing, where you're at. There's obviously variables to this. But hopefully this conversation at least allowed you to maybe look at your own situation, and determine, maybe if one of these two areas is your current bottleneck and you thought it was one, maybe now you just realize it's the other, and or vice versa. So if one person walked away with now figuring out, oh my God, I've been trying to solve the wrong problem, I think we did our job.
But personality too, if I could just throw that one other piece into the mix here. Personality is a big thing here. I am personally very comfortable selling something I haven't built and building it as I go. I'm very comfortable doing that.
Me too.
Not everybody is, and that's okay. You don't need to be me or Greg. If you need to have your ducks in a row in terms of fulfillment delivery, there's a point at which you go too far there for sure, right? But if you need to have things structured a certain way to feel confident making the sale, then do that. What works for me doesn't work for you necessarily.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Which actually, I think you had another tweet that actually, the other one we weren't going to talk about, but that's a different episode. Learning from people ahead of you. That's kind of where you're just going. I feel like that you just ended on. Now we have two tweets that we need to. This is going to be a recurring theme. Like there should be monthly.
Let's stop recording here and decide what tweet we're talking about next.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers.